What's the biggest secret that you've kept from your GF/BF? I lost almost all feelings for him at one point and was considering breaking up with him, but stuck around. Best damn decision of my life to stick around. I might have breast cancer and I'm freaking out. He knows I have a lump. He knows I have a mammogram and ultrasound scheduled. He thinks that it's preventative, probably a cyst, NBD. That might be the case. But this thing is hard, irregularly shaped, and only as sensitive and tender as my normal breast tissue. There's a good chance I'm ducked. I'm not going to dump this on him until I get that mammogram and ultrasound, and possibly biopsy. He has his own stuff going on, newly diagnosed anxiety on Oz, and I'm not going to add to it with bad news I'm unsure about. I'm talking to friends, and soon a counselor, so it's not like I'm keeping this bottled up. It's just not the right time to tell husband. Don't know if this counts. The last girl I dated, before I went to uni, assumed I didn't have much money, because I don't really spend money on myself. I would obviously spend money for dates and gifts, but I've always had a low cost high quality approach for dates, so our dates were well thought out but not fancy. I figured out pretty quickly that she thought I was broke and didn't bother correcting her. I have money, but it's my family's, so I've never thought of it as my own. She once saw my account balance when I was taking out some cash and got super pissed. It was a bit of an a-hole move, but I didn't take advantage and make her pay for everything. I'm working on a 12-year surprise gift for her. 3 octagon boxes, each one smaller than the last, stacked inside of each other. When the lid comes off, the sides fall open with 8 pictures of our wedding anniversary pictures. Second lid, 8 birthdays of our oldest daughter. Last box is 8 birthday pictures of our son. Married 4 years and my son is 6 months old. I need to find something super special to go in the middle of the gift, but I have plenty of time to figure that out. That I've been wanting to end things for a couple of months now. We haven't had Dex in months, and he keeps bailing on plans or putting zero effort, so we sit in my apartment 90% of the time. He also doesn't get why it makes me uncomfortable how much he hangs out with his ex. The day after we went out for our 1-year anniversary, he went out to brunch with her, but still says he loves me, etc. Only reason I haven't ended it is he's moving overseas for work at the end of the year, so it will be over then anyway. He's super well off, and I have some pretty hefty debts that I'm working through. We've been dating for a year, and I think it could be a pretty serious thing, but my debt is always on my mind as being the thing that will break us up. Ex, but she still doesn't know. I was having a dream about how badly I needed to pee, running around not finding any toilets anywhere. Finally found one, and started to piss. Except I really pissed. As an adult man, I started pissing the bed. The relationship was already on the outs. I hated this girl. I rolled over, pissed all over her side of the bed because she's a super heavy sleeper, then shook her awake and told her she pissed the bed. She was mortified. I never told a soul, kept her secret for her. That I served in the army for 5 years and fought in the first Iraq war. But to be fair, I don't tell anybody about it. I just keep it to myself. Some people wave their hats, some people turn their backs. To a person though, unless they've done the job, they really don't have any idea of what it's like. Ex, I was secretly in her WoW guild for a year. I put on a different accent in comms. Whenever she stayed over at my place for raids, my in-game person pretended to have work. Also faked work some nights she wasn't here, so she wouldn't notice. I wasn't doing it to spy on her or anything. She was a sweetheart. I just liked pretending to be someone else, and the people in her guild made me laugh. I hate that she says she can't go do things that I want to do with her because she already made plans to go do things with her family. I'm not family oriented and she is. The only nights I sleep are with my partner. I can barely manage more than a few hours otherwise. I have so much anxiety and overthink so many made up scenarios every night, but when I'm with them, I feel infinitely more calm. I often fake how much I sleep, just so they don't worry or feel bad about when I can't be with them. My girlfriend was unaware that before we dated I had ex with 2 moms. One was the mom of the kids I babysat for, and the other was the mom of the kids my sister babysat for. All my friends knew and had a lot of fun teasing me with the information subtly in front of my GF. One of my buddies, Ducky Andrew, told her that he was surprised I was dating her and not her mom given my history with women. Thank God she was not very smart and pretty drunk, so it went entirely over her head. The first week we met, we were both under the impression that our relationship would be short-lived and casual. He was moving 3 weeks later, so I slept with someone else, partially to help get over him, because I was crazy about him already after 1 week. Well, we were able to make the distance work, and we are still together, 3 years later. He has no idea, and even though we agreed it would be casual, he would be heartbroken if he found out. She is in Italy living abroad for 3 months, so we are doing LDR. I'm keeping a journal where I write a page every day about her, what I love about her, what I think about her, memories we've shared, times I was thinking about her. She doesn't know, but she does know there is some surprise that she will get. I haven't told her anything about it, and I'm really excited. It's really hard to write when we are in an argument. Please don't argue over text. It only makes things worse, but it's also really good because it makes me more mindful and requires me to change my perspective of situations constantly. I love her. We are 2 grown men who were dating 4 years before he got into a fully funded grad program a time zone away. We agreed that our connection was strong enough that we could hook up with other guys while we are long distance, as long as we didn't start relationships with them. Risky, I know, but it worked for us. That's not the secret. The secret is that one of the few guys I played around with is a prominent and successful member of the industry my man, fiance now, is trying to break into. Our interactions were Grindr based, logistics only, very minimal. I was upfront about my relationship status, but no details about my BF/myself. I only learned who he was when a friend reposted him into my Twitter feed and I recognized his picture. We have friends in common, and there's a fairly good chance they are gonna at least be at a party or industry meetup at some point in the future. I'm not telling him, because the Dex with Play friend was very good, and we did some things that my man isn't into but I love, and I'm not ready to have that conversation. When we first started dating I almost broke up with him, because despite being the same age, we had vastly different upbringings, and despite loving him as a person, I found some aspects of his behavior quite immature. There were times I wished I'd met him in 3 or 4 years, because I knew he was going to be such an incredible person when he grew up, but sometimes I felt like I was mentoring him. I've never directly said, hey, I think you're being immature, but I have gently steered him away from some of the more childish aspects of his behavior, being less judgmental and entitled, etc. And over the course of our relationship I really watched him become a much kinder, humble person. I didn't keep this very long from my wife, only until my son was old enough to not need prune juice anymore. But my son had trouble pooping for a while and the doctor told us to give him prune juice with his formula to help him poop. So I gave him his prune juice/formula mixture about 30 minutes before I had to go to work, so that she would have to change the vast majority of poopy diapers. Basically for like 8 months, I hardly had to change any poopy diapers. It was awesome. That before we date, I loved some other girl, but we never had the chance to try, and I constantly think about it. I love my girlfriend. We have been dating for 3 years, but I always wonder what could have been with the other girl. Sorry for my English BTW. Not a native speaker. Throwaway account. My so is technically my friend with benefits, but we aren't seeing anyone else, although we could regularly spend time together without boning, talk about our future, feelings and past etc, cuddle and all that love-a-dove cute stuff, met each other's parents, love and trust each other, we are always there for each other, etc. I'm afraid to have the what are we conversation again. Friends with benefits. Don't really do this. Lol, it's been 2 years. Back when we were still just friends, we went on a trip to Costa Rica. I went to a bar one night and she went somewhere IDK lol. I got to the hotel really drunk. I took a shower. When I was looking for my underwear, I found hers and went duck it. So I slept it with her underwear on that night. When I met my current fiance online, I was still living with my ex. I told him that I was living with roommates. My ex worked night shifts and I'd get online often out of boredom. We ended up breaking up online for a bit. Me and my ex moved across town together. When I started talking to him again online, I knew he was the one and practically kicked my ex out, took him off the lease, and changed the locks. 7 years later we are together, bought a house, and getting married next year.